I saw a lot of crazy shit on my 22nd birthday yesterday. But, completely disregarding that, Bruins win! Well, first, Bruins fans, it's time to hug it out because that is a 3-0 victory over the Nashville Predators. Welcome back down into the den, everybody. Now, honestly, this was a game in which, look, I've been listening to a lot of the short shift podcasts recently, and one thing that they've been kind of clear about recently has been at this point in the season, we've already clinched the playoffs. We've already clinched the playoffs. There's a decent understanding of who we're likely to be playing against. So right now, the outcome doesn't necessarily matter. The process that we get to the outcome is far more pertinent. And for what it's worth, this was the most complete game of hockey that the Bruins have played in months. Like, legitimately months. Like, I would say that the last time we had a game that was this, where the Bruins played all 60 at this caliber, was the 4-0 shutout win against Vancouver, February 8th. It has been nearly 2 months since the Bruins have looked this good, and we sure showed them tonight. Who is it? The Predators come into this game. Thank you, Train. The Predators come into this game not really badly needing a win, more so badly needing to reset themselves after an 18-game point streak and a total record of 16-2-2 since what is it? A total record of 16-2-2 since February 17th. More importantly, their 18-game point streak gets thwarted by the Arizona Coyotes of all teams. They kind of needed to be like, all right, we can't let this keep us down too much. We gotta actually show up. And for what it's worth, they did. This is a pretty heavyweight matchup, and I knew it was gonna be an interesting one because Francois Saint Laurent was the official. And what do you think happened? Of course, there were bad calls. There was there was one bad call and one bad missed call. The one bad call. McAvoy tripping on, I think it was, McAvoy went for tripping. I forget who it was against, but McAvoy ended up going for tripping, and it did not look like, and it just looked like normal body contact. Normal body contact that like maybe a bit of it was leg related, but it was mostly just looked like a standard check. Heck. And then the bad missed call, tripping on Jeremy Lauzon. Never heard of her. By the way, if you want an understanding of how Jeremy Lauzon is doing now, Jeremy Lauzon is right now having the best season of his career. Not only has he racked up 6 goals, 8 assists in the past for 14 points, which those 6 goals have amounted for almost 50% of his career goal output. But he's also on track to finish the season with just shy of 400 hits. Lauzon is doing pretty decent for himself. And honestly, I would still leave him exposed in the expansion. If I were to redo the expansion draft for Seattle. Lazan was a bum. And honestly, the fact that I'm fine with the fact that he's doing okay in Nashville, because right now he would still be struggling to stay on the roster in Boston. He would at the very best be like the fourth best defenseman that would be vying for the last spot on the team. But in any case, in terms of the actual game, like I said, insane job from both teams. Just everything that Linus Ullmark was doing, Yusei Saros was matching him on the other side. Sticks were flying everywhere. Everybody was putting up bricks. Roman Josi had the entire net to himself and pings it off the crossbar. There's really nothing to be said about the going goal by goal, but I guess I'll do it. Bruins start the scoring with just shy of 5 minutes left in the game. During a penalty kill, Ullmark clears the puck to not Bergeron, Marchand. Marchand then centers the pass to Coyle. Coyle manages to top shelf on Saros. So 1-0 with like 6 minutes to play. Then we get the Heinen goal, the Zaka goal, which is just that's just great. That's just great passing between Pasta and Heinen, and Zaka, and then the last one, just Pasta with the snipe. That's really it. That's really it for the goals. But in terms of process, this might have unfortunately been the game in which Mason Lohrei solidified himself as essentially a reserve defenseman for the playoffs. And I know nobody likes to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. That Lohrei isn't good enough for the playoffs right now. There were a few offensive shifts where Lohrei needed to come up with the puck and on a lateral pass, and he couldn't, and it forced us to reset the neutral zone. And no, that happens to everybody. But if you are, but one, he wasn't doing it contested, and second, and two, when you are, and two, there's nothing really wrong with being a reserve for the playoffs. Like who cares? He's still good. He's still better than I'll ever be at hockey. I mean, God knows that. But like, who can? But like, if he's a reserve, okay, we still have Peak and Wotherspoon, and for what it's worth, Peak had a really good night. Peak has been really, really good. But one thing that I really did not like from tonight was James Van Riemsdyk. Okay. Look, Justin Brazeau getting knocked the fuck out by Luke Shen in the middle of the second period. That really sucked. For one major reason. Brazeau made James Van Riemsdyk completely unnecessary on this team. The only reason why James Van Riemsdyk was ever relevant on the Bruins was because at the beginning of the season he was able to park himself in the slot and just be a bully on at the in front of the net. And then Brageau came along, and JV and then JVR stopped doing that, and then Brageau came along, and Brageau did that job, but at 6'5", 240. There is not much that is going to be shifting around on a guy who's 6'5", 240. Especially with someone who carries himself with the poise as Brageau. Oh, so I am a little bit pissed that JVR had to play tonight. Yeah. But for the rest of the team, fantastic job. Fantastic job. That empty net goal, by the way, that was the first empty net goal that the Bruins have scored since the game at home against Winnipeg, I think, which was January 22nd. It had been just over 2 months since the Bruins had last scored an empty net goal. So it feels good to have them scoring that. That's about it for the game portion. And as one last aside, earlier today the Boston Bruins actually made a signing, a really, really good signing. You know how Don Sweeney loves his college boys? Well, welcome to the Boston Bruins, Jackson Nelson, and signed to an entry-level contract earlier today. In 5 years at the University of Minnesota, not Smith. I almost got him mixed up with Jackson Smith and Jigba. They both spell their first names the same. Jackson Nelson has just been getting better and better every single season, all culminating in a campaign this year, which saw him score 19 goals, 12 assists for 31 points in 39 games as the captain of Minnesota, including 11 goals in the team's last 8. Fantastic job from him. And how big is he? He's 6'4", 220. He is another very large. He's another very large player that is going to be hard to shift around. And who knows? Who knows what this guy's upside can be, and more importantly, who knows how he's going to play on this team. I don't see, now for the record, I don't see him making the team out of camp next year. I don't see him making the team out of camp next year. I can see like maybe 3 players make. I can see maybe 2 or 3 players making the team out of camp next year, and let's be real, 2 of those 3 players are just. Let's be real. 2 of those 3 players are Fabian Lysell and Georgi Merkulov, and the third one is probably gonna end up being it's probably gonna end up being Brandon Bussi, just out of sheer necessity, because there is still not really a guarantee that Ullmark is here for the foreseeable future. Yeah. And by the foreseeable future, I mean after this season. Which I still think that your duty is to win a cup with this tandem. You couldn't finish the job with Bergie. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. You gotta do it, man. You gotta make sure that these guys bring home a cup. It's not just because this city is getting restless. It's because you owe it to this franchise. You owe it to this team, and you owe it to this fan base to bring home a cup. You just got to do it. But that is going to be it for me tonight. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys on Thursday. Take care.